The purpose of this video is to show that IO Interactive doesn't understand what made their IPs popular, and that they would be better off in the hands of a studio that understands their franchise more. When I heard IO Interactive got the rights to the James Bond franchise, I was skeptical. Bond in general has been in kind of a weird place for some years. No Time to Die spoiler incoming, by the way. Skip ahead 20 seconds or so if that's triggering for you, but yeah, he died in his last movie. He hasn't had a game in years, and really the closest thing besides this game's announcement to new Bond media we've gotten recently has been censored, re-released novels of Ian Fleming's original run, and a game show on Amazon that looks like Fear Factor with kind of a vaguely Bondian filter. That isn't even going into my problems with the Hitman World of Assassination trilogy. I played Hitman 2016 about 2 or 3 years after its release due to not owning a next-gen console or PC at the time. And honestly, when I did finally play it, not much really impressed me. The graphics are, of course, pretty, but so were Absolution's, and the gameplay itself just felt half-baked. Some of the levels, such as France, Sapienza, and Hokkaido, were in my opinion designed with fun in mind, but the other half, Marrakesh, Thailand, and Colorado, felt stale, limiting in creativity, and just not very inspired. The next 2 games in the trilogy also had their own degrees of unevenness. I don't want to spend the entire video shitting on Modern Hitman, because as much as it likely deserves it, I do still love the franchise and kind of feel bad reaming one of my all-time favorites. That said, the community has been glazing this game way too much, and it honestly feels like I'm living in a clown world seeing the heaps upon heaps of praise this game has got. In order to understand why Modern Hitman kinda sucks, it's important to reference just what made the old games unique. Modern Hitman is plagued with issues that most modern games as a whole suffer from. A concentration on graphical fidelity at the expense of virtually every other feature. Always online being described as an essential requirement and feature when it's really just server-based DRM. A narrative-based, dialogue-heavy story. Vaguely cinematic. Hitman's story in the first couple games felt like a fever dream. A neo-noir tone with a dash of science fiction, sprinkled in for good measure. Hitman Contracts expanded on this, adding in much more dark and sinister elements to the overall atmosphere and story. By framing the game's plot around 47 being injured, and with the levels being recreations of the first game's levels, it really is a fever dream. By far the darkest game in the franchise, Contracts features rainy missions, nighttime missions, much more blood and dark themes than probably any of the games that came before or after. Blood Money and Absolution both take the tones of previous entries and expand on them slightly, adding in certain comedic elements that could best be described as perhaps absurdist humor, maybe slapstick, but without being over-the-top cringe. Take the Crows from Blood Money, or the Saints from Absolution, respectively. These uniquely designed enemy NPCs wouldn't be out of place in such far-ranging titles as Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg, or Manhunt, respectively. The introduction of jocularity was beloved by some and confused others still. People wondered why Hitman was changing so much, but much bigger changes were still to come, little did we all know. The Hitman games of old were immersive, globe-trotting experiences that made you feel like a legitimate world traveler. NPCs spoke different languages to help sell you the environment. Even the music would sometimes add an ethnic flair to the instrumentation and melodies to help push these feelings across. Examples of this can be heard in Jesper Kid's compositions Jungle Exploration and Streets of Hong Kong from Codename 47 and Hitman Contracts, respectively. Now, no matter where on the planet the level takes place, you'll be hearing the same 4 or 5 voices. It makes the game sound cheap, understaffed, and hollow. It wouldn't be so bad if the series didn't invest so heavily in immersion prior to its modern titles, but it did. And to people who've been here from the beginning, it's such a noticeable detriment to the quality that it honestly hinders the overall experience. The game's new features that they advertise heavily, frankly, aren't very good. These new Hitman games already suffer from serious bloat in level design and guard mechanics. Throw in numerous updates that can make routing levels inconsistent, and you've got probably the least overall playable Hitman game. Hitman takes time to invest in. It's not a series you can easily just pick up and play and figure out the level in 5 minutes. Now, since they screwed up guard pathing with updates, and 47 can take/deals less damage than ever, means they've overly casualized the experience. Having trouble on a mission? Just throw on a mission story, which essentially is a tutorial for every level. Part of me knows that criticizing this is a fool's errand. Every game franchise of consequence has suffered from casualization, and the more things become popular in the culture, the more dumbed down for the ignorant masses they'll become. But I'm going there anyways because this needs to be said. Hitman isn't supposed to be a series that holds your hand. Older entries made you feel so accomplished when you finally figured out your way to do the level. Don't get me wrong, the older games had clearly defined methods in each mission players were expected to use their first couple times throughout the level. Curtains down, World War II pistol switch comes to mind. Or the Korov car bomb during the Korov Park meeting mission. These methods were how we learned to play the game back in the day, and I have no problem with them, because you still had to work a little bit to figure it out. You might not know how to acquire the real World War II pistol, or the car bomb the first time you play these two missions. Trial and error eventually yields a victory, maybe even a silent assassin rating if you're quick and quiet enough. Now the games railroad you. It straight up gives you a path. Most mission stories offer no sense of challenge or even conflict. For the opera pistol swap, you can't get caught making the trade or they will see through your ruse. If caught fiddling with the car, and not in the disguise that you need, you'll be shot. These mission stories offer literally zero danger or tension. What's the fun in that? The game already has 2 tutorials, 3 if you count Hawk's Bay. Why does every level also need 3 tutorials? There also just wasn't enough difference between the World of Assassination trilogy's games. They could have released the whole thing 2022 complete with all levels and it probably would have been a more well-received experience rather than making Hitman 2016 and the quote-unquote sequels feel like DLC. But greed exists, and here we are. I'm also not even going to waste time discussing some of the more beloved aspects of the game, such as Ghost Mode or Freelancer Mode. I know Ghost Mode is no longer available. Both features seem okay at best to me personally. Ghost Mode could have been great if they did more with it, but them axing it rather than refining it shows IO really didn't believe in it conceptually. Freelancer is fine, I guess, if you're into roguelikes, and making an already inconsistently unfair game even more ball-bustingly frustrating. Now that I've aired some of my grievances towards what's become of Hitman, let me take the time to e-dump on this new Bond trailer. Let me preface this by saying I love previous James Bond video games. Some include my favorites. I grew up on GoldenEye and The World Is Not Enough 64, as well as the goldmine that is the Bond games on PlayStation 2. These are truly some of the best first-person shooters ever made, and because of the high-stakes stories and epic gadgets, it really makes you feel like you're Bond. I won't mince words, though. 007 First Light looks awful. I'm not even going to go into Bond's Tom Holland-looking ass being the only white employee at MI6, as much as I probably should. Hell, I guess technically I just did. The trailer just looks like Hitman, though, with a slightly higher degree of action, I guess. This is debatable anyway, since you can play Hitman as a shooter if you wish. I think they went the third-person route because they're using the Glacier 2 engine again, but Bond just works better as a first-person shooter in my opinion. I realize everything or nothing and From Russia with Love exist, but these are exceptions, not the rule. They even could have done a first-person shooting, third-person fighting / action sequence style system like the Quantum of Solace game, but it seems like they're just trying to save money. Given how much money they saved basically making the same game 3 times in a row, only hiring 6 voice actors, they need to start spending a couple bucks to make a half-decent game. I guess the driving sequences look good, but Bond driving sequences are always like 3 or 4 levels out of a 20 or so mission game. How much a difference is that really going to make? Also, knowing IO Interactive, the game will be 5 missions, 6 hours max, cutscenes included, unless you want to pay for the Ultimate Edition or whatever that might include a bonus mission or 3. Always online for $80 Season Pass Edition that probably doesn't give you anything except a slightly different weapon skin you probably could have gotten for free in-game anyways if you felt like grinding 50 hours for it. Excuse me. So this has all basically been exposition to kind of give you an idea of where we've been and where we're going. I've been debating making a video of this nature for several months, and have been putting it off because A, video essays are kind of a lot of work, especially if they aren't watched by the very many when it's all said and done. And B, I kind of feel like no one cares for different reasons than you probably may think. From what I've gathered, most people who play modern Hitman seem to love it. They're likely excited for 007 First Light, and just ready to consume whatever else IO Interactive regurgitates for them. But after hearing about Lenny fucking Kravitz being announced for this Bond game as a villain, I felt compelled to make this video. James Bond villains, I suppose, have always been somewhat campy by nature, retrospectively, but they do require a certain gravitas, in my opinion. Joseph Wiseman, Christopher Lee, and other actors who played Bond villains often had serious acting backgrounds with stage training and Shakespearean origins. They might have hammed it up a little on screen because of the source material involved, but in my opinion, they did an excellent job portraying the characters they were hired to play. Now, Bond villains have been steadily declining for years. You could probably argue this began in the last couple of Daniel Craig movies. But holy fuck. What's Lenny Kravitz's background? The man whose song was so uninspired he lost out on the Drake and Josh theme to half the show's titular hosts, landed a role as a Bond villain? Seriously? This started with Hitman, guys. I gave Gary Busey a pass because at least he's kind of funny and over the top. I now regret accepting that at the time because it paved the way for more modern, messy slop. Conor McGregor I missed out on. Didn't even know he was a celebrity elusive target until researching this video. Or maybe I did know and just forgot. Sean Bean, another one I went along with because at least he has the trope of always dying on screen. Plus, I am a fan. But fuck. We've got to stop accepting this stuff and playing this stuff we have bad feelings about just because it sort of almost makes sense at the time. And then when they announced Bruce Lee months back, I was just confused. Isn't that already dead? I guess he's your ally instead of target, but I digress. There's nothing Hitman-esque about Eminem. There's nothing Bondian about Lenny Kravitz. Does IO seriously think they can beat Fortnite and Funko Pops at their own game? At this point, I'm hoping they overextend themselves on celebrity licenses and get the Funko treatment. They've proven they've lost sight of what made their games great, and it wasn't shitty celebrity endorsements or even gallows humor. Hitman 3, for all intents and purposes, was a massive success, according to the internet. The game defied sales expectations, was by far IO's most successful game, and other talking points come up when you look into this. Despite me having never met another Hitman fan in real life, these games have always been niche, borderline fringe content, and I'm almost curious if they're buying up their own stock to inflate sales figures the way certain record companies have been shown to do. I'm sure this will piss off the denizens of loyal fans, all 12 of you, But honestly, guys, this game's sale figures and general success reeks of suspicion the way newer games does, like Assassin's Creed Black Samurai or Woke of Yotei. I would go as so far as to ascertain that I wouldn't be surprised if even no one you know ends up buying 007 First Light Viewer. That game will go on to sell record breaking copies. The BlackRock bailout continues.
Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I just want to end this video by saying I don't hate IO. I don't hate anyone. I don't hate IO Interactive. I don't hate Hajaz Kram. I don't hate any of these people mentioned or anyone depicted in any of the images, okay? I don't. I must say this, so I don't have a mob of their sycophants after me. If I may be honest, they forget more in a day about game design and computer programming than I may ever learn. But their technical knowledge and general know-how shouldn't excuse the modern gaming tropes. Updates fucking games up, always online in a single-player game, and wokeness. Who is this James Bond game for? Okay, answer me that. James Bond is not a franchise you can just sprinkle in little dashes of wokeness and think the fans are gonna fucking go along with it, okay? We're a little more self-respecting than these, the legion of progressive Star Wars and Doctor Who tards. James Bond fans just, we're not like that. It's by design, okay? Read those books. It's literally fucking by design. I mean, shit, man. And I'll tell you this, people. I truly believe, because this is a little prediction I'm predicting. Quasimodo predicted all this, see. When we hear about this game doing record financial numbers, fucking Game of the Year awards, steal the show, this, that, and the third, I want you guys to take that as proof that sales figures are fabricated and these reward shows are fucking rigged. Alright? Because it's just not possible. It doesn't pass the fucking sniff test. Alright? And it doesn't matter how good these franchises were in the past. We gotta let these things go if they're not good anymore. It doesn't mean we have to throw away our good games and our good books and shit, but we can't support this fucking nonsense, people. They're literally all... They're a fucking hollowed out, hunched over husk of themselves. All Hitman has left is David Bateson. And they fucking ironically ruined him by making him talk too much. Hopefully he's well paid. All that BlackRock money has to go somewhere. Oh, man. Anyway, that's it. Did this video make you feel something? Did it, kind of get to you like,
oh my god, Hitman! How dare you! My favorite game, the World of Assassination trilogy, changed my life. Ah! And you don't like games, Bond? How dare you? Just let us ruin every franchise. It doesn't affect your life in any way.
please, please comment that. Please. So I can literally belly laugh at it. I do read every comment. But really, if the video made you feel something, say it. I know I certainly feel a lot these days. Like and subscribe if you do feel is so kind. It does help the algorithm work. It's algorithmic acclimatization. Bye.